Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. And that is all I know from that song, but I'm pretty sure you already get the idea of what I'm talking about. Casper. So Casper is a 1995 movie adaptation from the comic of the same name. Now, I did not grow up reading the comic, but I do remember seeing some of the animated shorts. There was actually one that I remember where Casper flies all the way to space to see the man on the moon, but turns out to be is nothing more than just rocks and craters and some moon people, as well as some somewhat terrifying tree man, which he actually goes to the rescue and saves the moon people. I remember that short like a lot. So the movie follows two adults, Kerrigan and Dibbs, who inherit a mansion. However, that said mansion turns out to be haunted by none other than Casper and his three uncles, Fatso, Stretch, and Stinky. So after a few failed attempts from some very hilarious cameos, they seek the help of Dr. Harvey, played by Bill Pullman, who comes along with his 13-year-old daughter, played wonderfully by the always talented Christina Ricci. So the rest of the movie is just filled with cameos, with spooks, as well as plenty of dark humor that will satisfy the person standing right here. So as a kid, I used to watch this movie a lot. There was a babysitter that I would go to, and she had plenty of kids' movies, but the one that I always got to see was Casper, as well as We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. Does anybody remember that, Jim? Because I sure do. And all I can say is I was definitely entertained, and that is thanks to the great performances that are spread throughout this movie. The first one has to go, of course, to the titular character, Casper. Malachi Pearson does a really good job in voicing him, and we actually get to see a little bit more backstory of how did Casper become a ghost. And also the CG in this movie actually is pretty good, especially for 1995. I actually did believe at times that Casper was there, and every time he turned invisible, he looked like this watery figure, which I always loved. I don't know, the image looked great. Another one that does a good job is actually Bill Pullman as Dr. Harvey. Throughout the movie, he is all over the place. He comes out, he is serious, he tries to be a jokester, and also he throws possibly one of the best scared faces I've ever seen. Like, every time that scene where Casper scares him always made me laugh for some apparent reason. I just love his reaction. Also, we have Christina Ricci, and this is for a second time in a Halloween review. And she actually does a pretty good job, but to be honest, she is the same girl that played Wednesday Addams in the Addams Family movie. So here playing just a normal teenage girl that has doesn't have many friends just feels like a downgrade of a performance, in my opinion. Like, she does all right for most part. There are some funny lines that she says. There are some memorable moments with her, and the relationship that she has with Casper is actually kind of heartwarming, to be fair. I think the real show stealers has got to be Casper's uncles, Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch. Stretch being my favorite one. To be honest, throughout the whole movie, some of my favorite lines actually came from him. And it actually went into some very dark territories. Which brings me to my next point. Some of the realizations that I pretty much managed to observe when I saw the movie again after so long. The first one, how dark the movie is. Like I was saying back then, and Kerrigan and Dibbs, the main villains of the movie, they actually, in one scene, they tried to kill one another so that one of them can turn into a ghost. And this leads to possibly one of my favorite scenes of the movie, which is where Kerrigan crashes her car into a tree, not realizing that she's dangling on up a cliff. When she gets out of the car, she just falls to her death. And you think, oh gosh, that death came out of nowhere, and I had me laughing on the floor because, I don't know, that scream always made me laugh. But she doesn't die. She actually comes back as a ghost, which brings out possibly one of my other favorite lines in the movie. "Not so fast, little man. The bitch is back." Which of course leads me to my next realization: the language in this movie. There was a lot of profanity held into this movie. Of course, there's like the simple ones like "what the hell is that?" and but the fact that they say "the bitch is back," it must have surprised a lot of kids who actually went to see it in theaters. I saw it many times and I never realized it until I saw it recently, and I was kind of surprised the language that it was. But to be fair, it is a PG movie. The next realization: there is a lot of death in this movie. I'm not really going to spoil much of who dies. I already spoiled one scene, but I'm not spoiling other ones. But I am just kind of surprised how some people die in this movie, or there were many attempts at killing someone in this movie, which I'm baffled. How is it that I never realized that when I was a kid? I guess I was just more into seeing the visuals and pretty much the funny slapstick in the movie more than in pretty much see the story or pretty much the characters' motives throughout the movie. Despite its mixed reception, Casper ended up being a massive success. Like, it actually spawned a cartoon show that ran for 4 seasons. Not to mention, there was a lot of straight-to-video movies. And come to think about it, I believe I actually have a copy of one of those direct-to-video movies. Here it is. Casper: A Spirited Beginning. Supposedly this is like a prequel to the first movie, but it doesn't really feel like it. But yeah, I have a copy of this, and I remember seeing it a lot when I was a kid. So yeah, Casper was a fun movie with plenty of cameos, plenty of spooks, and a very dark sense of humor. They're a lot darker than I expected, but either way, it's still a good movie, and I guess kids can see it for Halloween. Like yeah, it's a ghost, so yeah, I'm sure they can have some little fun at it. Or they could just watch the cartoon shorts. They're up on YouTube. So Casper, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And tune in next time and you will see what comes next. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye bye.